Hi, I'm Tom, and this video is an overview of the Material Workbench, which is a new workbench in FreeCAD 1.0. The Material Workbench provides material system which is unified across all FreeCAD workbenches. As of FreeCAD 1.0, it has not been finalized yet, so for instance, BIM Workbench does not utilize materials from the Material Workbench yet. In this overview, I will go through the basic material management, how to assign, create, copy materials, and so on. This overview will not go deep into material options, finite element method usage, or usage in rendering applications. Okay, now let's get to look at the Material Workbench in FreeCAD. Before we start, it's important to know that there are two basic groups of properties of each material. The first group of properties are the appearance properties, and the second group of properties is the material properties. So the appearance group of properties might be something like color, glossiness, light emission color, transparency, etc. Everything how the material looks, either how it looks in your 3D view or in a rendered view, and so on. So this is the appearance group of properties. And then there's the material group of properties, which might be things like density, viscosity, specific heat, thermal conductivity, etc. So these are the properties of the physical properties of the material. So when I'm in my FreeCAD window and I select an object, I select this cube and I right click, you can see that under the right click options you've got the material and appearance. So these are the two different groups. I will be mainly demonstrating things on the appearance properties because they are clearly visible on a video, but most of the assigning things, etc., works the same with the material and the appearance. So the Material Workbench seems like a simple one because it has got only one button which opens the material editor, and we will get to this one a bit later. But first, let me show you the basic assigning of appearance as you were previously used to in previous releases of FreeCAD. So if you want to just plain and simple change the color of this cube, I will select it, right click, go to the appearance, or select the shortcut Ctrl D. And here I've got the appearance options, where at the top I've got the material. You can set the drop down here or drop it up, so it doesn't matter for us now. If I don't want to mess with material settings and just want to change the line color, I will click here, select the line color, hit OK, the line color changes. If I want to change the color of the object, I will go to the custom appearance, and here these are already material properties but just for this object, and there are several colors here. The important one which changes the color which is of interest to you is the diffuse color. You don't have to take care of the ambient color. I will talk about specular color a little bit later. Emissive color is if this object was emitting light like a bulb. So if you leave it black, it's just a normal object. So if I change the diffuse color to green, hit OK, close, and close this one, you can see that the object is green with the red lines. So this is just a quick change of appearance of the object. And let me get back to we changed the diffuse color, and let me get back to the specular color and shininess, because these are quite important to know what they are doing. So if the specular color tells me how much the object would be shiny. So how sharp this, how shiny it would be. So if I go to select this object, go to the material properties and change the specular color to complete black, that means it won't be shiny at all. I will hit OK and close, and you can see that this ball now is not shiny at all, whereas these spheres are. Now it may be a bit confusing that if I select the second one, if I leave the specular color as is, so the mid gray, and change the shininess to, let's say, 5%, so I would think this might change the shininess. What this value actually does, it tells how much this specular reflection, the sharpness of the specular reflection. So the less shiny, the more bigger it is, the white specular reflection. So it's bigger but not as bright. And when I make the shininess higher, so like 100%, it's very small but very bright. So for the use for normal person, the only two important are the diffuse color and the specular color. You don't have to really mess with the shininess value. Then there's of course the transparency, which if I set to 80 and hit close, this will be 80% transparent. Okay, now let me show you one more thing in the custom appearance dialog. Here there are two options, reset and default. The reset resets the settings that I changed since I opened this dialog. So let's say I will take this one. It's green, and if I change the color to red, I will hit OK, and now I've found out that this was a mistake. I can click reset, and it's changed to the first time that I opened this dialog. And the default one sets all of these values to default values. So if I set default, the color is changed, the shininess is changed, specular color, etc. So these are these two buttons. So this is how you can quickly change the appearance of objects. And now let's take a look at real work with materials. So if I select this sphere and I want to use a material from a library, I will click this drop-down menu, and now the list of all materials in my library shows up. There is, with FreeCAD installation, there comes the system libraries, which are separated into groups. And because I'm working with the appearance, if I drop down the appearance group and I select bronze and click here, the object has bronze appearance assigned. So this one overrides my previous settings. If I select this sphere, and again I can assign it a material, let's say gold. So now this one is gold, and let's choose this one and assign this one the wood generic. Okay, so this is how you assign the material, the appearance properties. And what's important to note is that now they have assigned these materials, but if I take a look at this gold one, if I want to know which appearance material is applied to this object, I have to right click, go to appearance, and now I see that it has the gold material assigned. So this is how you find the material that is applied to the object. Now if I take a look at this sphere, you can see that in the appearance I've got the bronze material, but if I take a look at the material channel, there's the default one, a different one in the material channel. I think this is a little bit of bug of FreeCAD 1.0. I can sometimes set these two channels separately and sometimes they synchronize. So let me see if I select the material properties to be glass generic and select this one. So in the material I've got glass generic and now it has changed even the appearance, but this does not work all the time. It has removed the bronze from the appearance, but if I check with this gold and change again the material, you can see that it's the default one, and I change it to concrete, hit close, and now I've got bronze appearance and concrete material properties even if I redraw my project. So I think this is a bit of a bug of FreeCAD 1.0 that they don't always synchronize these two channels when you apply appearance and material. So now we know how to assign materials or just simple appearance properties. So now let's take a look at the material editor, how to work with materials. I can access the material editor through this icon, like this one, or also if I go to the appearance or material option, and here if I've got the drop-down list, I go to the bottom of the drop-down list and here is the launch editor, and it also opens up the materials dialog. So I will close this one and open the materials dialog like this. So here in the materials dialog, I've got a list of materials on the left side, and here are the properties of the selected material on the right side. So I've got my favorites materials, recent that I recently used, and system, which comes with the FreeCAD installation. And they are separated into several groups. And the first one is appearance. If I take a look at the appearance and select the bronze material that we used previously, you can see that I've got general information about the bronze material, physical properties, these are the material properties, and appearance properties. So in general, you've got the name, the author, license, and maybe some other information. In physical, because this is just the appearance material, there are no physical properties here, and there's just the appearance where you can see the ambient color, diffuse color, emissive color, shininess. These properties that I explained previously are here of the material. So this is the appearance group of materials. They have got no physical but just appearance properties. Then there's fluids, which fluids have got physical properties, and here you can see the set properties, the thermal properties, fluid properties, like density, dynamic viscosity, with all of these values, which can be used in simulation or calculation properties. And here these fluids don't have appearance properties. So you can see that some materials can have only physical properties, some materials can have only appearance properties, and some materials can have both. And these groups can be different. So for air, it will be different than for, of course, nitrogen, etc. So these are the fluids. Machining, I think again these have different properties, of course, than the air. This is the machining groups. The patterns, I think these are not yet fully implemented in the FreeCAD 1.0. These are materials that include the appearance of a hedge pattern, and these are groups of PAT patterns, which are defined by the PAT PAT file, and then there are pattern files which are defined by SVG format pattern. So these are the two groups of patterns. I think in FreeCAD 1.0 these are not yet implemented inside of FreeCAD, but for the future they will be. Then there are standard so the concrete generic, you can see that this has got appearance and also some physical properties, so both of them. Glass, metal, etc., copper. There are lots of steel materials, and here you can see where it is originated, where the information is originated and who is the author. So lots of steel, titanium, plastic, etc., and then there's test material. Now these system materials, you can use them and apply them to objects as I previously shown you, but you cannot adjust them. You cannot change the properties of the material. But you can create your own user-defined materials, and they can be also based on these system materials. So let's take a look at how you create your own materials. So to work with materials, like creating a new one or copying an old one, you have to be on the General tab, and you've got these three buttons: New, Inherit New, and the star, which is Favorite. First, I will explain the star. If, let's say, I like working with the bronze, I will select it, hit the star, and now it's in my favorites, and it's always on the top. So if I want to apply bronze to this one, I will select it, and the bronze will be in the favorites on the top, so I can select it, apply the material, and hit close. So this is this button, add to favorites. If I want to remove a material from my favorites list, I select it here in the materials list, in the favorites list, and hit the star again, and it's removed from the favorites. Now to create a brand new material, I will click on New. So I click on New, and now here nothing happens, but here I'm setting up the properties of my material. So I will name it Test New Material, and this will be the author. I can select the license, set the URL, set tags or description, but this is enough for me. And now I can set physical and appearance property to my material. So I will first go to Physical, and here I've got empty list. To add group of physical properties, I will hit this plus button. And now it opens up material models, where there are models set up which include some properties. So you can see, for instance, in the fluid, I've got fluid as a basis of a fluid material, and this one, if I take a look at the properties, you can see that this group of fluid properties has density, dynamic viscosity, kinematic viscosity, and this number. So if I select OK, these properties are assigned to my test new material. So to input a density value, I can double click here and insert a density, let's say 10, but you can see a little problem that I don't see the units. By default, it's using the units that you could have seen here in the properties. So it's kilograms per cubic meters. And actually, I think this is a bit of an omission which could be fixed, but I don't have to write it. But so I know that it's there, I will write kilogram per meter cubic. and now the unit is there. I could also write, if I want to use different units, I could also write 1000 grams per meter cubic, and FreeCAD will do the calculation automatically. And in the dynamic viscosity, I will type in 0.5, and in kinematic viscosity, let's say 5 meters squared divided by seconds. And this number, type in 1. Okay, so this is how you insert the values. And if you want this test new material to have not only the fluid properties, but let's say also some other properties, like let's say like electromagnetic properties, you can again see here these are these three properties, and here you can also see the link to the description of the property, which is nice, because I'm not really a material specialist, and yeah, it's been a long time since I've studied this, so I have no idea what these actually do. So I would hit OK, and I've got my electromagnetic group up here. So these are the groups of properties. Now if I want to remove the group, I will select the electromagnetic and remove it from the physical properties. So now let's assign also appearance properties to my new material, and I will do it the same. You've got the preview here, and I want to assign appearance materials. So you can see here that you've got lots of rendering properties, which we will not go into because these are for the rendering add-on. There are some, again, pattern properties, but we will use just the basic one, which is basic rendering. These are the properties that we talked about: the diffuse color, specular color, transparency, etc. So I will put in the diffuse color, I will put the green one, and shininess, specular color, I don't want it to be shiny at all, so I will put black here, and I could put in transparency. You've got the preview here. So now I could also assign another group of appearance properties. So I could also use for rendering, if I wanted to render this this object in Cycles render engine, I would add the Cycles render engine properties, which seems they are not applied yet. But so now I will remove these group of properties, so only the basic rendering, the on-screen rendering, is assigned. So now I've assigned appearance properties, physical properties, and general properties. The material is up till now not saved at all. I save it by hitting the save button or OK button. If I hit OK, I will save the material and close the material editor. If I save, I just save the material. So I will click save. Now it's asking me, I can create multiple libraries, but I've got only the user library for now. And this is the proposed file name, because each material is its own file with the FCmat file type. So I will apply OK, and this material is now saved as a user material test new material FCmat. So I will hit OK, because the material has been created, and now if I want to use it on my project, I can select this cube, right click, select material, and apply. It will be in the bottom, the test new material, hit close, and you can see that it was applied only to the material property. So now I have to also assign it to the appearance property. So let me scroll down and assign it to the appearance property enclose. Now this cube has my material as a physical property and also an appearance property. So this is how I'm able to create a new material and have it in my library, and I can use it in all of my projects. Now let's take a look at this inherit new, which basically creates something of a copy, but the copy is linked to the original material. So if I wanted to create a new material, which is the same as my test new material, but it has not the green color but the red color, but the same physical properties, I will select this one and select inherit new. So I created a new material, but it's based on its parent, and the parent is test new material. I will name it test inherited material. And here you can see if I click on physical, I've got already the copy, or basically it's linked to my new material, and appearance is also the same. So what I can do is not only change values here, but I can also, for instance, add new properties. So if I add those electromagnetic properties that I was talking about previously, and I will type in some numbers, I've got this new material with these electromagnetic properties, and I will change the appearance, just change the diffuse color and change it to red one as I stated previously. And I will save the material. And now it's important to save the material as inherited, because that will save also the parent information. So I will hit OK, and now I've got this new inherited material created. If I hit OK, I can apply it to, I will just apply it to the appearance. It will be again at the bottom, and I will use this inherited one. Okay, so now I can close out. So the important thing to note when you are creating inherited material, I will place it into the favorite ones, is that the inherited always has linked to the original material, and you could have seen that I could change the appearance of the inherited material, but the other properties are still linked to the original material. So if I would go to the test new material, the original one, and let's say originally I've got the density as 10 kilograms per cubic meter, and I would change this to 100 kilograms per cubic meter. If I hit save and save as a test new material, hit OK, FreeCAD will warn me that some other materials may be children of this material, and it could cause problems. But I will click OK because I know what I'm doing now. And if I take a look at the inherited material, now it has got the original value. But if I restart FreeCAD, which I will do now, so I will hit OK, I will save this file and restart FreeCAD. So after I restarted FreeCAD and I look at my materials, the new test material has the density as I changed it, and now even the inherited material has the density that I changed in the original material. So for the link to properly work, you have to restart you have to restart FreeCAD. So this is why it's important to see which material is parent here. And this one we created as new, so this one has no parent. So hopefully it's clear what the difference is between creating a new material and creating an inherited material. Now what I like to also mention is if I set these materials as a new material and an inherited material, and I assign it to this object, and if I now go and change the, let's say, appearance of the new material from green to violet, I will hit OK. You can see that even if I save the material and the material in this project does not change, so this material system cannot be used to dynamically change properties of an object in a document. The best workflow is to set your materials at first and then don't mess with them, because even if I restarted this file, this one will be green, this one will be red. It does not change. I would have to assign the material again, I think. So I will assign a different one and then assign the test material, not the inherited, but the new material. And if I reassign the material, only then it takes the new properties that I change afterwards. So the best workflow is to set your materials at first and then just don't change them during your the work on your project. Now the last thing that I will show you is how to work with the materials that you created and how to delete them, because you cannot get rid of them, delete them from the materials editor, but these are just simple files, FCmat files, and they are saved on your disk, and they are on Windows systems. It's users, the name of your user, update, app data, roaming, FreeCAD, and material folder. And here are the materials that I created. You can see that they are just simple FCmat files. And if I open the, I could delete them from here. So, and then they will be removed also from the materials list. What's interesting to see is that if I open it in a text editor, you can see that the material is a text file, so you can even change the values from here. And you can see that I've got the new material, I've got the author, the name of the material, and then I've got UUIDs of each of these group of properties. And what's interesting is if I open the inherited material and I open it, you can see that I've got the general information, and here is the section inherits, and it tells me from which material it inherits its properties. And you can see that here it inherits from the test new material and the UUID of the material. And then here are properties which are either new, which are not in the test new material, or which are overwriting one of the values of the original material. So you can see here This is the group of the electromagnetic properties that is new, and also the basic rendering value has changed color from the original one. So this is basically how the material system works. It's a file system, but it's quite neat how it can be interconnected. So now you can understand that, for instance, lots of these steel materials can inherit properties from one of each other, and you just can change one value. So this is the material system. Materials from the Material Workbench work across all FreeCAD workbenches, but as of FreeCAD 1.0, it's not implemented on all workbenches yet. It will be in the future. So for now it works across part or part design or finite element method workbench, but it is not yet implemented in the BIM Workbench. So for BIM Workbench users, I've got a sample project here. You actually should rather use the BIM Material tool to work with materials, because this one actually creates BIM materials which work better in a BIM Workbench. But you can, if you are creating a BIM material and you drop down with this choose preset, you can actually copy the preset of the material. So I could choose wood generic and it would apply at least the appearance materials from the wood generic material. So I can at least work with the materials this way, but rather than assigning materials through the right-click menu and either by appearance or material, you should, in BIM Workbench, you should rather work with the BIM materials. So if you want to assign material to this wall, you would select it and choose select material and choose from this menu rather than the one that we were talking about in this Material Workbench overview. In the future, hopefully in the near future, the Material Workbench should also be applied to BIM objects. Okay, so this is it about the Material Workbench. We have learned how to work with appearance, work with the material properties, how to create new materials, how to assign them to objects, how to create copies of materials, and how the inheritance system works. If you like using FreeCAD, consider supporting it. The link to the donation page will be in the description box below. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next one.